Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome back to TATR 4K Live Safari Update. First of all, we would like to wish you a very happy Maharashtra Day and also International Workers' Day. So today we will be exploring the newer parts of Sirkada. On the way, we will also be searching for a few birds, as on the previous video we got to see a lot of migrants. Well, we have come to the first water body here, and we already see a couple of birds flying around. So here we go. The first bird of our safari happens to be a raptor, and this one is the white-eyed buzzard. The white-eyed buzzard has come to the lake to have a drink, and you see these lapwings constantly harassing it. The red-wattle lapwings are extremely territorial birds. They are known to harass not only birds but also animals, because they build their nests on the ground. This pair of lapwing that you see might have built their nests close by. That's the reason they are extremely protective and watchful from the raptor. This little bird with bright yellow eye rings is the little ring plover. These birds are a widespread resident of the Indian subcontinent. You can see this bird here foraging. So basically what they do is they foot trample and they wait for the prey. And once they detect the prey, they run swiftly towards it and they pick them up. The little ring plover feeds mainly on various insects such as beetles, flies, ants, dragonflies, crickets, shrimps, and also worms and snails. These birds are also very territorial and they defend a good feeding area by chasing off other birds. There is also a common red shank here, and it is in its breeding plumage. So these birds are winter visitors to India, and they are widely spread across Europe, Asia, and some parts of the African subcontinent. They breed here between April and June. So the common red shank is foraging here now. You can see it sticking its bill and trying to pick up insects and also crustaceans, which form majority of its diet. And now it's cooling itself down and cleaning itself. Most of the birds during summer take a dip in the water to cool themselves down. We also see a pair of greater painted snipes. The one in front is the female and the one behind is the male. So in this species, the female is larger and brighter in color than the male. Painted snipes are also omnivorous. They eat both plant as well as animal matter. So animals they eat include the invertebrates such as insects, snails, earthworms and crustaceans, whereas the plant matter they eat include grass seeds and cultivated grains. The painted snipes are residents here in Tadoba, and the greater painted snipes are also crepuscular or nocturnal. They primarily forage during dusk and at night. These birds forage for their food by standing on shallow water and using their spatula shaped bills, they move side by side, bobbing their rare body. We had seen the white-eyed buzzard perching on the stump earlier, but now there are two wire-tailed swallows. They are called wire-tailed swallows because of their very long filamentous outmost tail feather, which trail behind like two wires. These birds are usually seen in pairs close to water bodies. These fast flyers fly low over water as they pursue their prey, which are flies and moths. The sexes are similar in appearance, but the females have a shorter wire tail compared to the males. We are moving ahead to another waterhole now. We have now reached the waterhole. So we can hear a lot of chirping, but we don't see any animals or birds here. We'll just have a quick look and then proceed to the next waterhole. Well, big sounder of wild pigs crossing the road. Wow. We have reached the waterhole now, but there's only little water in this waterhole and no birds or no animals here again. Well, we see a male spotted deer and a female spotted deer. They seem to have noticed us from a distance and they are moving away. So we are going ahead to another waterhole now. We have spotted a barred button quail. These birds are found in most parts of India, and like the greater painted snipes, the female is the brighter among sexes. And the female initiates courtship and also builds the nest. She even fights with other females for the possession of a male, uttering a loud drumming call as a challenge to rival hens and also to announce herself to a male. The female, after laying eggs, she goes on to acquire another male and perhaps yet another and so on, evidently only one at a time. Whereas the male incubates the eggs and also tends the young. We have spotted a big cat and we have stopped our vehicle. It looks like a subadult tiger and he looks like he's moving away from our vehicle. There's a common tendency for tigers and mostly big cats. They prefer walking on the jeep tracks for a couple of reasons. Number one being that tigers have soft pads and they feel comfortable using the tracks. And the second one is that the tracks also connect to the adjoining areas. We can now see him resting on the roadside. He is yawning and also panting. The big cats, like tigers, are known to rest for about 16 to 18 hours a day in order to conserve energy. He doesn't seem to be bothered by our presence. He has also started to groom now. Grooming is a very important part of a tiger's day. They use their rasping tongues to remove loose hair and also dirt from their fur. The grooming process also keeps the tiger's coat in a good condition. By using their tongues, they spread the oils secreted from their glands throughout the body. Looks like the tiger has decided to leave. We will also go ahead and search for some beautiful birds. We have almost reached the water body and I can already see a bird perched high up in the tree. So this big bird is the Oriental Darter. Like the cormorants, they have wettable feathers and are often found perched on rock or a branch with its wings held wide open to dry them. They also roost in trees close to or above water. These birds are also called as the snake bird. They call them so because the body of this bird remains submerged as it swims and only its slender long neck is visible above the water. These birds usually forage singly with the entire body submerged, swimming slowly forward using their webbed feet, while the head and the neck is moved jerkily above the water. They dart their neck to impale fish and then bring them out of the water, tossing them into the air before swallowing the fish head first. The adult Orient darters go through a synchronous molt of their flight feathers after the breeding season, resulting in the loss of flying ability for a brief period. And when disturbed from their perches during this period, they dive into the water below and attempt to escape underwater. We happen to notice a very unique tree here. It is called as Tamil Nadia uliginosa. It's commonly called as Katul or Petra in Marathi. It is a very rigid small tree armed with numerous strong thorns. The flowering starts at the beginning of the hot season, that is in the late April, and is at its peak in June. These fragrant flowers are pure white with waxy overlapping petals. The flower looks nearly round in shape, and they are also called as divine jasmine. The fruits of these tree are spherical, smooth, and are shiny green, turning yellowish brown in color when ripened. The ripened fruit looks similar to the guava fruit in appearance. There are numerous seeds compressed inside this fruit. The leaves of this tree are browsed by deers, gourds, and antelopes. These trees are only found in swamps, banks of rivers, and other moist places here in Tadoba. We also have the Indian roller or the Neelakhant, which is come and perched here. There's also this white-throated kingfisher that is constantly diving in the water. But this time, it is not diving to catch a fish. It is just diving and taking a dip in the water just to cool itself down. Now, there is not just one, not two. There are three white-throated kingfishers perched on the same branch. Usually solitary, seeing three of these kingfishers is an amazing sight. This huge raptor that you see here is the crested serpent eagle. These birds are usually seen perched at a height, but this one is perched on a dead tree trunk close to the water body. This raptor might have seen something moving in the undergrowth. These birds have an acute vision which helps them detecting the movement of their prey from a very great height. You also see these birds perched close to water bodies looking for water snakes. So this is the largest among all the egrets found here in Tadoba. They call it the Great Egret. These are a widespread resident of the Indian subcontinent. You can see this bird steadily marching in the water. The Great Egrets feed in shallow water or dry habitats, feeding mainly on fish, frogs, small mammals, and occasionally small reptiles and insects. They use this long pointed beak for spearing their prey. You often see them standing still and allowing the prey to come close within its striking distance. They nest alone or in colonies. The males start to build the nest using long sticks, twigs, and the females complete it. Nests are usually located in the trees or bushes near the water. We are now leaving this water body and heading towards a man-made water body which happens to be in front of an old temple. We are reaching this man-made water body now, and you can see this whole water body is dominated by the lotus. The lotus is India's national flower, is also a symbol in many cultures for wealth, prosperity, purity, and fertility. The lotus live in shallow and murky ponds and lakes that are exposed to direct sunlight. It cannot survive the colder climates. The leaves of the lotus are shaped like paddles. They can reach up to 20 inches in length. The flowers can reach up to 20 inches above water, which helps distinguish it from other flowering aquatic plants. The petals of lotus are shaped like daggers. They are arranged in several layers. The lotus flower protrudes several inches above the water, and this flower is also known for its beautiful odor. The seeds of lotus remain viable for a long period of time. It is recorded that one type of lotus seed managed to develop into a plant after 1300 years of dormancy. The flowers open in the morning and close at night. Lotus was a symbol of sun, rebirth, and creation in ancient Egypt. Because of this unusual behavior, which marks the beginning and the end of the day. The lotus plants stay dirt-free, an obvious advantage for an aquatic plant living in typical muddy habitat. The lotus effect refers to self-cleaning properties that are a result of ultra-hydrophobicity as exhibited by the leaves of the lotus flower. The lotus shows better stability and perfection of its water repellency than any other aquatic plant. Here you can see an Indian pond heron using the leaf as a platform for fishing. The leaves of the lotus help birds like herons and egrets to balance on them as they patiently wait to catch their prey. Here we see a langur feasting on the lotus leaf. The leaves of lotus not only provide food but also act as shelter for many aquatic creatures. This is a Zadiracta indica, commonly called as the neem tree. So neem trees are fast growing trees that can reach a height of about 15 to 20 meters. They are evergreen trees, but in severe droughts they may shed most of their leaves. This tree is worshipped in the Hindu culture because every part of a neem tree has a medical property. This tree is also the most important tree used in Ayurvedic medicine because of its antibacterial, antifungal, and antiseptic properties. The tender branch of the neem tree were earlier used for brushing teeth. Most parts of the neem tree are awfully bitter, with exception of its flowers. The flowers have a sweet, almost mystical jasmine-like scent at night and blossom once in the afternoon and then again in the evening. Neem flowers can be used to treat anorexia, nausea, belching, and intestinal worms. The raptor that is perched on the canopy of a neem tree is the short-toothed snake eagle. Like the crested serpent eagle, the short-toothed snake eagle predominantly prey on snakes. They have an owl-like head with bright yellow eyes. They are accomplished flyers and spend most of their time on the wing. You often see these raptors effortlessly gliding and hovering over open plains and grasslands in search of their prey. We hope that you have enjoyed the safari experience at Sirkada. We will be back again tomorrow exploring another part of Tadoba. Please do like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel TATR 4K Live. Goodbye and stay safe.